Joe Rogan, the world's most influential podcaster, who, among other things, favors Donald Trump, MAGA Republicans, and conspiracy theories, was recently making fun of President Biden on an episode of his show, along with his guest, MMA fighter Bo Nickal. The two talked about how they prefer Donald Trump, who, in their estimation, was unfairly maligned by the media, and they cited a very specific gaffe that they thought Biden made as proof that Biden is cognitively unfit to be president, only to find out in real time that it wasn't Biden who made the gaffe, it was Trump himself, and what followed was profound awkwardness. But before we unpack all that, if you haven't yet, please hit that like, subscribe, and the alert bell. All right, folks, we've got 2 clips to play. This first one is from the Joe Rogan Experience. It's about 3 minutes long. And I should tell you, if you struggle with secondhand embarrassment, if you struggle to watch comfortably 2 idiots make asses out of themselves in front of tens of millions of people, you may struggle with this, but I assure you, it's worth it.
Well, you know, there's people that voted for Biden that are doing it now.
Yeah.
They're like, what did I do?
Right.
Like, what did I choose? Like, how is this guy?
Yeah, you just can't listen to an interview where he's saying some of the stuff he says that just makes no sense at all. It's like you can't listen to those interviews and feel like you made a good decision. I don't know how you could.
Did you hear what he said like yesterday or a couple of days ago? He's talking about the Revolutionary War. He's like, one of the reasons why we lost the Revolutionary War, one of the problems with the Revolutionary War was they didn't have enough airports.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
I saw that. Like, what the hell?
Like, pull him.
It's crazy.
If you had any other job and you were talking like that,
yeah,
they would go, hey, you're done.
If you talked like that to a doctor at your medical exam to fight, they'd be like, okay, like obviously you're not fighting. You would also, here's 8 weeks of being helped out by a professional. Like,
right. You might not ever do anything again.
No.
So I want you to put a pin in that. Okay, make a note of it. They're saying if you say something like that, and they cite the specific gaffe, if you say something like there were airports during the Revolutionary War, you're not only cognitively unfit to be president, you should be removed from the presidency if you already are president, and you probably shouldn't be allowed to do anything else. And again, note the laughter, note the consensus. Keep that in mind as we conclude this clip.
Oh, it's one of the wildest things ever.
It's insane.
Yeah.
And the media gaslighting you to pretend. It's just people are so afraid of Trump being in office and Republicans being in office.
Now the guy, I'm like, man.
Well, it's just the media narrative. I mean, so many people were fed this lie that the Russia collusion.
Yeah.
Was
this the video you're talking about?
Let me see what this one says. I don't think it is.
So to be clear, the producer of the Joe Rogan Experience, Jamie, he's off screen. He is pulling up a clip of Joe Biden allegedly making the gaffe that Joe Rogan is thinking of. Okay. And then you're going to hear Jamie himself in just a second.
What? By the way, the same stable genius that said the biggest problem we had in the Revolutionary War is we didn't have enough airports. Whoa.
Yeah, that's it.
Whoa.
Right. That's it. That's what he says. And you hear Bo Nickal laughing the whole time. That's so funny. Who says something like that? Now you're about to hear Joe Rogan's producer, Jamie, do a brutal fact check.
What?
Just for the record.
Is that fake?
It's not fake, but he was referencing Trump saying that. Here's what Trump saying it in 2019.
Oh.
Donald Trump said something about that. He didn't say Jesus. He said a stable genius, and that's where the transcription.
Let me hear what it says. What did he say?
In June of 1775, the Continental Congress created a unified army out of the revolutionary forces encamped around Boston and New York, and named after the great George Washington, Commander-in-Chief. The Continental Army suffered a bitter winter of Valley Forge, found glory across the waters of the Delaware, and seized victory from Cornwallis of Yorktown. Our army manned the airports. It ran the ramparts. It took over the airports. It did everything it had to do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So he fucked up.
Yeah, he did. But I feel like
Took over
that's
the airport.
you can tell too. It sounds like a little different. He's like, you can tell he like messed up his words, but yeah. He was just, I don't know.
Took over the airports.
Well, that's the thing
funny.
about media these days. It's like,
right.
You
never
got to
know.
look into it.
So there's so much to unpack there. Number one, Rogan's reaction when he turns back to Jamie. He's like, is it fake? No, but he's referring to Trump. that is awkward. And also note how Bo Nickal stops laughing. You don't hear a peep out of Bo Nickal until towards the end, where he and Rogan both try to laugh it off. They're, well, he screwed up. Note the shifting of the goalpost. Note the double standard. The standard they clearly established is if you say something like, there were airports during the Revolutionary War, you're unfit to be president. You should be removed from office if you're currently the president. So if Joe Rogan and Bo Nickal had any principle and any standard whatsoever, if they were objective in any respect, they would say, you know what? I guess that means we can't vote for Donald Trump in 2024 since he was the one who actually said that. He's the one who actually met the specific standard that we cited as proof of cognitive impairment. But instead, once they found out it was Trump, after some long moments of profound awkwardness where you're like, crap, I shouldn't have said that, they just laughed it off. Oh, we screwed up. Oh, we screwed up. And then they tried to make it an issue about the media, okay? Now, again, it's pretty bad coming from anybody, but Joe Rogan is the most influential podcaster in the world. So he has, again, reach and signal and influence. And so this is part of the asymmetry of expectation and the double standard that I constantly complain about. This is what we're up against, folks, right? Progressive policies are, yes, more popular than conservative policies, and there's generally more people aligned with Democrats than Republicans. But the media is squarely against us. Again, Joe Rogan's not some schmuck, streaming out of anywhere, right? He is the most influential podcaster in the world. And when he does this, when he grades Trump on a curve, it influences millions of others to do the same, and it reinforces that asymmetry of expectation. But I also want to play a second clip here to remind you that Trump's cognitive decline is so apparent that even a right-wing commentator like Megyn Kelly, who is a former Fox News reporter, she is a conservative Republican, and she says she'll even vote for Trump in 2024. Even she is bluntly admitting what Joe Rogan won't do, which is that Trump is in cognitive decline.
Do you think that Donald Trump has faded from where he was in 2020?
Yeah, I do.
Huh.
I mean, I take him over Joe Biden any day of the week.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to, fill out this term, never mind a second. But there's no question Trump has lost a step, or multiple steps. He is confusing Joe Biden for Obama. I know he's now saying he intentionally did that. Go back and look at the clips. It wasn't intentional. It was look, any of us could have a slip of the tongue, but it's happening to him repeatedly. The reference about how somebody's going to get us into World War II, confusing countries, confusing cities where he is. It's happening more and more. With all due respect to Trump, this is what happens when you're 77 years old.
Yeah.
So even Megyn Kelly's admitting it. Anyway, I thought it was hilarious, and I know a lot of other people did too, to see Joe Rogan so confidently talk out of his ass and then to be fact-checked in real time and see the awkwardness on his face and hear the death of the laughter of his smug guest, who also apparently hates President Biden, just the awkwardness which ensued. And it's going viral, and it should. And even if you like Joe Rogan, which I used to watch his show all the time, even if you appreciate him as a conversationalist, you should not be getting your political cues or your political takes from Joe Rogan. He's an idiot in that respect, ill-informed, objectively terrible, and irrational. So keep that in mind and let me know what you think in the comments.